Hi, I'm Scott Fedyshyn, and I'm the Tax Reduction CPA. This video today is to go into my background a little bit, where I came from, and how we do the work that we do today. So hopefully this helps you understand what we bring to the table and how we can help you with your tax situation. So first and foremost, I would like to emphasize that while we might be working remotely, uh, thank goodness for technology these days, it's really changed a lot of our business. But we do actually have a physical location in Shelby, North Carolina. And I actually purchased this building a couple of years ago. So it's our permanent location. The fun fact here is it was actually a bank previously. So we've got a drive-through that clients get to take advantage of and not even get out of the car to pick up their tax information. And we also have a vault. So that's where we store some of the client files and our office supplies too. So the key takeaway is, our location is permanent, it's well secured, and we're highly interconnected as well. So this is my team. So we run a full service CPA firm, which is not required. You don't have to onboard with us for your bookkeeping and payroll and taxes, but importantly, we're able to do it. So a lot of tax designers and tax planners don't do tax returns. And that makes me scratch my head a little bit, because if you're not, in the trenches and understand how some of these things actually hit a tax return, how can you best plan around that? Well, what we've done is built out an entire team for an end-to-end process. I personally do the tax plan designs. Then we can do the bookkeeping and payroll specific to those needs. And of course, it hits the tax return as expected. But in any case, this is our firm and these are our people. Look, it's an accounting firm. We do a lot of tax returns and we work very hard. And I try to make it as fun as possible. So we have a lot of dress up days. About the only time you'll ever actually see me in a suit is one of those funny suits that you see in some of the pictures here. And this past year, if you notice the picture on the top right of your screen there, and top left, I actually took all of our employees on a cruise to the Bahamas. They work hard. I wanted to pay back, for all their efforts. And so, I try to keep it lively. And we do a lot of group events together. We really do act like a family. So on to, our typical services. And I like to emphasize here that, I really try to silo myself and tax planning. So while I have a number of designations, I'm really going to focus on being the CPA, the certified public accountant, and work on, tax reduction for you. We'll probably have a lot of conversations about investments, wealth management, but we leave the actual management of that up to professionals that live in that space. So I don't care what you invest in, and that's important for you to understand that. What I do is I set up the right structure for where you put those investments. But that is totally up to you. You continue to invest as you do today. But you can always look at me as, your personal resource to communicate across all the professionals you might work with. So everybody's speaking the same language. Currently today, your CPA is probably not talking to your investment advisor, who's not talking to your estate planner or your attorney. Well, we do a lot of that. We act as a project manager. And when everybody's working on the same page, it just works out better for you. I am overseen by 3 separate ethics boards as well. So when it comes down to client confidentiality, obviously, it's professional courtesy, but it's also required as part of what I do. So my background really began at East Carolina University. I got an undergrad degree in business and financial services. And then I got a master's in accounting with a dual concentration in taxation and healthcare administration. My professional certifications, most notably, are the CPA and the CFP as a financial planner. You can see both of the numbers for those certificates there. You can go and look me up. Those links should take you to the relevant boards' websites where you can verify the status of those licenses. If they don't happen to work, you can easily search for those numbers or my last name as well. So some of the other designations that are relevant to tax planning are the tax coach and certified tax planner. And the ones below that are more for internal accounting and for corporations and so forth. The last one, Six Sigma, is a line of thought and a designation that deals with project management and process improvement. And why that's actually important is because we've put a lot of time and effort into our back end and our back office support to make sure we are as efficient as possible in how we deliver the services that we do. Having a background in project management and Lean Six Sigma, which is process improvement, allows us to deliver the services better for you. So to go on with more licensing, uh, I got a life insurance license. I am currently uh, home based in North Carolina, where our physical location is, but I get other state licenses as needed, and we have several states that we are licensed to operate with. I run insurance and financial planning stuff through Fedyshyn Financial Group, which is separate from the CPA firm. And I am registered with FINRA for as an investment advisor. But again, I want to emphasize that is really for compliance reasons. I do not manage investments. I do not oversee stock portfolios or touch any of those kinds of things. So who do we work with? Everybody, right? We're independent. So what that means for you is we go out and we find the best deal for you. It really doesn't matter to me, and I'm not married to any one company or a group of folks that might provide services to you. As long as they're performing for you, the client, then they work for us, and we'll do a lot of referrals back and forth. As soon as that breaks down or there's something better, we'll switch. Again, it's all about the client and whatever is working the best for your particular plan. In my professional experience out of college, I went to work for one of the largest accounting firms in the whole planet. I was spent one busy season, one tax season in a high net worth tax preparer group. So I was doing tax returns for the millionaires and billionaires, CEO of publicly traded companies, lottery winners, and so forth. After the busy season, I was absorbed into a specialty tax planning and tax reduction group called TPDG. And I worked very hard in that group. So I traveled the country working for the largest corporations, saving them hundreds of millions of dollars in tax. And even in a very competitive environment like PricewaterhouseCoopers, I did win several awards for client service and process improvement throughout my tenure there. After PricewaterhouseCoopers, I went up to Deloitte, and I worked in a very similar team there as well. We specialize in accounting methods, which is a really geeky way to say I know a lot of just technical tax stuff that could apply to your return. And I was one of three individuals on the global or the U.S. Tax technology team. So we were actually responsible for doing the due diligence, the tax research, creating the tax projects that we rolled out for the firm, and then maintaining the systems, software, and spreadsheets that calculated everything. So how does that translate into you? Because that's what's most important right now. Basically, again, we can do the tax technical research. We can do all the modeling and spreadsheeting out. We're very good at projections and knowing how we do things. So combining the tax technical knowledge, the computer programming knowledge required to do the complex projections that we do, along with the Six Sigma and process improvement, creates the entire package so that you know that you're getting the best services and the best all-around experience. After traveling the country and working 100 hours a week at the large firms, I wanted to have a family and settle down a little bit. So I took a job at Electrolux in Charlotte, and then Duke Energy shortly thereafter. My job at Duke Energy was to oversee all the large tax implementations, and that could have been software or new tax laws, basically anything that had a material impact on the financial statements. So some of my work you can actually read about in the footnotes and P&L of Duke Energy. But I was a project manager role there, and I oversaw the entire, completion of the tax return, both insourcing and outsourcing, working with a global team of tax folks to roll up those hundreds of subsidiary companies, and delivered in excess of a couple $100 million in tax deductions, for Duke Energy while I was there. Now, when I was only working 40 or 50 hours a week at Duke Energy, I started working from home nights and weekends, some extra money like a lot of us do. And I started a little CPA firm, tax returns, tax consulting. I would review individuals, and if I could amend your tax return and save you money, we'd split the difference. Well, that business steamrolled. I got a whole lot of clients fairly quickly, started looping in bookkeeping and payroll out of my own house and home office. And I went out and purchased a CPA firm. So that's what brought us to Watson, Fedyshyn and Associates in Shelby. And then a couple years later, we renamed it to Fedyshyn CPA Group, what we have today. I'm very proud of this firm. All of our employees have a very long tenure, and we've been around the firm in various stages of ownership for over 50 years. In fact, just recently, we were trying to clean out some space. And so we were shredding a lot of old storage tax returns. And we were shredding tax returns going back to the 1950s, believe it or not. So tons of history, got to see all that through the decades, the change in the tax returns. And blending, the new way of doing things with, web-based interactions with clients and live calls and video chats with a very long tenure of the firm as well, I think really works well, bringing the old and the new together with that, sort of groundedness to it. So we do offer all the necessary services, as we mentioned before. But again, if we're doing tax planning, you're not required to roll over to us. The most important thing to me is that you sleep well at night, you know who you're working with, and we don't disrupt your business and how you do things to an extent that makes it unbearable for you. So if working with your current CPA and bookkeeper is working for you, then keep doing that. We don't want to interrupt that. But if they're not, we can backfill that and we can help you out. And then outside of that, I'm a typical family guy. I've got 2 kids and my wife. My wife actually works in the firm with us. She's an office manager. Her background was in education, childhood education. So she's very good at keeping me corralled and making sure that I'm doing what I need to do. And, outside of that, this is really what I live, eat, and breathe. That is my license plate, because I truly like to put, my everything into tax planning and put my money where my mouth is. So my license plate says write-off. We actually got a registered trademark for the tax reduction CPA. And I'm going to be the guy at the beach on vacation, probably reading, in a journal of accountancy or some kind of court case while I'm enjoying my vacation. Just how I'm wired, how I work. And that may seem super, super boring to you, but at the end of the day, know that I'm the single source of anything tax technical that you might need. And if I don't do it and implement it, I've got the resources who do. We've spent years and years building out relationships with subject matter experts and providers, and they're the best in class at what they do. So know that when you come to us, you've got a world-class team of folks that you have access to implement whatever you need. We'll manage it. We'll keep everybody in the same loop of communication. Again, you can sleep good at night knowing we've got it all covered. So that's the gist of what we do and where I came from and how we came to be. And I hope to work with you soon and save you as much taxes as we possibly can so that you create a higher net worth, can sleep good at night, and live a better life. Thanks.